Hey everyone, my name is Shivank and I'm currently a fourth year medical student at Imperial College London, and today's video is how easy is first year of medical school. Many of you may have the impression that medical school is a very daunting experience. The idea that you have 9 to 5 lectures every single day, and when you come back home you have to revise the content you've learned because exams are around the corner. However, I would say that first year is quite the opposite. The idea that it is a nice transition from school, secondary school onto university. And that's not to say that it still will be, some parts will feel more difficult than others, but overall, I think that it's been quite a great year. And here are the reasons why. So firstly, the idea of seniors. I think seniors at medical school are really welcoming. The idea that there's not really a competitive environment, but the idea that everyone wants you to really thrive and really do good. And so when I joined medical school, it was a big transition in terms of the teaching style, because obviously in school you're taught with a smaller classroom and the idea that a single teacher teaches you a subject before you move on to the next one. However, in medical university, you have around 300 students being taught by a single professor. So it's very easy to just go absent in the lesson, or the idea just not to understand what's going on. And that's where the seniors came in. The idea that many of the lectures I didn't really understand what was going on, or I didn't really know how to revise. And so when I asked them, they were able to provide me with not only strategies that worked for them, so for instance, using Anki with active recall. Personally, I tried this, but it didn't really work for me. But then another senior suggested the idea of Notion, the idea that you can test yourself whenever you feel like it, and it's quite an aesthetically pleasing platform. And so I was able to use this and really helped with my revision. And my senior also gave me his notes, which I used throughout our first year and was able to do well because of this. So, in summary, I think it's really important that medical school transition can be quite swift if you're able to meet seniors as well. And I think the best way to do that is the mums and dads scheme. So at university, you have a mums and dads scheme, or it's maybe called a buddy scheme in other universities. But essentially, you're paired up with someone that you're above. Definitely talk to them, just understand more about how they transition into university, what their main fears were, what are the things they enjoyed the most. As a result of this, I was able to perform well in my exams, and I was also able to learn about different societies and how to get involved. For example, different cultural societies I've never even heard of, I was able to join them at Open Fair because of my seniors. Secondly, overall, as I mentioned before, I think first year was really chill. The idea that whilst for yourself at the beginning, you might feel a bit stressed out because you're not sure how to revise, or that you're not sure if you're making time to go out and socialize as well, it's really perfect. The idea that everything you do, everyone's in the same boat. They don't know how to have a good balance at the beginning because you're just new to this skill. The idea that you have to look after yourself in a new environment, the idea that you have to learn as well, and the idea that you have to learn to meet with new people. And so it is quite a big step up. But I think the main thing is the idea that you give it some time. So most universities don't have exams until after Easter, and even the earliest ones have exams around February time. So that gives you some buffer time, so when you join university, really enjoy, whether it's freshers weeks and really get to meet loads of new people, form different connections, form different groups, but also the idea that the lecturers expect you to try and understand the content, but not really memorize or not really get down to the specifics of it until later. Furthermore, and I think which really helped for me is that by talking to seniors and also talking to my friends, I realized that many of us were trying to understand the content, but it wasn't fully getting to the grasp. And that's where the Easter break comes in. The idea that you have 5 or 6 weeks before your exams to really get down to doing the exam papers, and also to get down to understand the content specifically. So the best piece of advice that I've got from it is that have a look at all the content at least once. You don't have to memorize it, but you do have to try and best to understand it. And I think that's really great, because when looking through the content, if I could do that back in time, if I understood it once, when I went back in the Easter break, it would make the transition very smooth, because I know I've already learned it once, so I understood it in the first place. So now when I do it in Easter, it'll just be a question of just revisiting that and then doing past papers. For me personally, Easter was slightly more stressful. The idea that I didn't really look at lectures specifically in detail, or the fact that I did only half the lecture and then just ticked it off, thinking that I've done the whole thing, but in reality, I only did half of it because I got bored or I just didn't do the whole thing. So, in summary, it's really important that when you commit to a lecture, you do it fully. Make sure you understand it rather than memorize it, in my opinion, so that when you come down to Easter, you can then memorize the lecture and then you'll be able to be fine and then do the exam questions then as well. Furthermore, medical placements. Now, this is something that's different across universities. So, Imperial offers an integrated teaching style. So that means we have early clinical exposure as from first year itself. And I think initially I was quite scared. The idea that would I be able to talk to patients and really understand what's going on, be able to diagnose them, or be able to find their treatment condition. But that's not what Imperial expect from you from first year or any medical school. It's more the fact that you get comfortable talking to patients. And I think that was really key. The idea in the first couple of weeks of when I had my GP placement, initially I was unaware of what to do, but they really transitioned as well. The idea that any medical school will teach you about the basic principles of how to talk to patients, the idea of why patient consent is really important, the idea of basic things such as Socrates, how to take basic histories. They teach you from the very basics. And again, they don't have many expectations of you. If you go in any hospital and say you're first year, they'll treat you like you're one of the youngest, and they'll treat you from the very basics. And that's really what you want. The idea that in medical school, a lot of people are scared, the idea that you should know everything of biology or anything, but it's a completely new field in medicine. And so they just are expecting you to be able to talk to patients and just develop basic patient manners. So then when you're in later years, such as your clinical years, you're able to talk to patients in a much more comfortable situation in order to be able to get histories performed well. And finally, if I had to go back in time, what would I change in my medical school? So firstly, I think it's just starting a bit earlier. So I think, as I mentioned, the idea that you do have a lot of time in your Easter break to learn the content and really get down to it. But if I had done the lectures at least once properly and at least understood it, I think it would have made Easter a lot smoother, and I would have even performed more in exams. So if you do sit down and commit to a lecture, make sure you do it properly, so that at least when you look at it next time, it'll just be a revision rather than relearning new content again, and you've done a lecture just for the sake of doing it. Secondly, try out all the clubs and societies that are out there. I myself only joined squash this year, and I think it's been one of my greatest regrets. The idea I've enjoyed it so much this year, but had I started in first year, I would have picked up on new skills, maybe even been part of a captain of the team. Even then, I'm still happy I picked it up. And so just go out of your way, whether it's communicating with your friends and colleagues and being like, let's go out to join a society, or whether it's by yourself. I think it's a really great skill, and all universities offer a range of clubs and societies for you to get involved. And I think it does help to make the transition smoother as well, because you can talk to other people, really get to know what they're experiencing as well. And you can also meet a lot of seniors as well, because many societies, they aren't only first year, they have lots of different years as well. And so my take-home message is, everyone is in the same boat. At some points you might be feeling stressed, thinking there's a lot of work, but everyone as well has experienced the same point. The idea that we've all been through the first year, and towards the exams, it does feel a bit stressed out. The idea that, oh, why am I doing the subject? It's so long, it's not worth it. But in the end, it really is. I think it's just a smooth transition in doing a little by little, and then at the end, it's just more of a recap rather than just cramming all at the end. I think it really does make sense. And make the most of your time. The idea that first year medical school is one which people create the most memories, where you meet the most people, in my opinion, as well, mainly because of accommodation and because of all the clubs and societies that you initially join. And I think it's really great. So definitely get out of your comfort zone and really enjoy meeting all the people and getting involved in new events. And so that concludes this video. If you guys have any questions and want any advice as to how I got through first year again, then please let me know, and I'll be more than happy to help.